something doesn't add up and fans are starting to notice. While major sports outlets are busy framing the latest Indiana Fever preseason broadcast as a success story, a closer look at the numbers tells a very different tale. Yes, the matchup drew attention. Yes, there was hype. But beneath the polished headlines and celebratory tone, a significant portion of the audience quietly disappeared. Viewers didn't just drift away, they made a choice. This isn't random fluctuation. It points to growing frustration among dedicated fans, particularly with the team's evolving identity on the court. Head coach Stephanie White's off-ball offensive approach has sparked debate, with critics arguing it disrupts rhythm and minimizes key strengths. At the same time, mixed signals from the front office have only added to the confusion, leaving supporters questioning the long-term vision. What we're seeing now isn't just a dip in preseason engagement, it's an early warning sign. Loyal fans are engaged enough to care, but also informed enough to push back when something feels off. That tension is beginning to show up in measurable ways. The conversation around these ratings shouldn't be about spin or selective interpretation. It should be about understanding why interest dipped despite heavy promotion and what that means moving forward. Because if this trend continues into the regular season, it won't just be a media narrative problem, it could become a much bigger issue for the franchise.
Cast of the first preseason game of the year with the Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty. Let's keep it real, the two biggest teams in the league. The Indiana Fever and New York Liberty on Saturday, April 25th, delivered an average audience of 743,000. That is an increase of 76% over Ion's first preseason game last season. And I was like...
After the April 25th preseason clash between the Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty, the WNBA and ION television quickly highlighted one headline figure, an average of 743,000 viewers. That number was pushed across official channels and echoed by major media voices as a clear win. It was labeled the most watched preseason game in the network's history, with a reported 76% jump compared to last year's equivalent broadcast. Now, strip away the framing and look at it plainly. 743,000 viewers for a preseason game is undeniably solid. It reinforces the drawing power of Caitlin Clark and the heightened attention surrounding this team. But that's only part of the story. Analysts who focus on the league's business trends immediately pointed out gaps in the narrative. The headline number, while impressive on its own, doesn't fully capture audience behavior across the entire broadcast or the broader expectations tied to the hype.
Season game. So I got to look and was like, well, that's a little suspicious. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I went to look. The Indiana Fever against Brazil on ESPN averaged 1.3 million viewers, peaking at 1.6. I don't know about you guys, just quick math.
In 2024, a preseason exhibition featuring the Indiana Fever drew about 1.3 million viewers on ESPN, peaking near 1.6 million. Fast forward to 2026, and their opener against the New York Liberty averaged 743,000 viewers. That's a steep decline, roughly 43%. The audience has nearly been cut in half, signaling a clear drop compared to the previous high benchmark.
And you may be like, well, Rhodes, it's ION versus ESPN Network. Yeah, I got you covered, folks. ESPN's available in 70 million homes. Pay television households. The ION network is available in over 100 million homes. And it's available in a combination of over-the-air broadcasting, which is your antenna. If you got a plain old antenna, you can watch ION. Cable and satellite. It's on Dish Network. It's on DirecTV. It's on YouTube TV. It's on. It's free on Roku. It's a streaming channel.
Some commentators argue that comparing networks explains the gap, but that overlooks how modern distribution actually works. ESPN is a premium cable channel, available in roughly 70 million pay TV households, meaning viewers need an active subscription. In contrast, ION Television is a free-to-air network with access to more than 100 million homes through antennas and streaming platforms. By pure reach, ION has a significantly broader and more accessible footprint. That makes the comparison harder to dismiss. The 2026 preseason game featuring the Indiana Fever and the New York Liberty had wider distribution, no paywall, and a stronger opponent. Yet viewership still declined by over 500,000 compared to the previous benchmark. That raises a more complex question than simple network differences. A big part of that conversation centers on Caitlin Clark. During her 2024 rookie season, she appeared in 20 of the 23 WNBA games that surpassed 1 million viewers, roughly 87%. That's not just popularity, it suggests a strong correlation between her presence and peak audience engagement. The pattern became even clearer in 2025. When Clark missed time due to injury, national TV viewership reportedly dropped sharply over a short stretch. While multiple factors always influence ratings, the timing reinforced how much attention she draws to broadcasts. So when the 2026 preseason audience lands well below the previous high, the key issue isn't just the raw number, it's what's driving the change. Are expectations resetting? Is audience behavior shifting? Or are on-court decisions like new tactical systems under head coach Stephanie White affecting how fans engage with the product? Those are the questions that matter far more than surface-level narratives.
If you guys aren't paying attention, there's a section of fans that are mad as hell right now. They're mad as they don't want to see Caitlin Clark play off ball. They don't like Stephanie White's style of play. They don't want to watch slow basketball. They don't want the ball to be taken out of Caitlin's hands. They don't like how the Indiana Fever handled the injury last year and kept tagging fans.
The timing of this ratings debate doesn't feel random. The Indiana Fever preseason game came right after a stretch of roughly 2 weeks filled with messaging that stirred tension among a key segment of the fan base supporters of Caitlin Clark. Between the April 13th draft and the April 25th opener, the conversation around the team shifted noticeably, and not always in a way that resonated positively. Several moments fueled that shift. Head coach Stephanie White discussed potential off-ball usage for Clark, which sparked debate about how her strengths would be utilized. Team president Kelly Krauskopf emphasized adjustment and system fit, while general manager Lynn Dunn responded to fan concerns in ways some interpreted as dismissive. Assistant GM Amber Cox added to the discussion by highlighting a combo guard framework. On top of that, draft-related discourse, including reactions tied to Raven Johnson, further amplified divisions online. Now, it's important to stay grounded. In sports media analysis, correlation doesn't automatically equal causation. Ratings fluctuate for many reasons. Broadcast windows, competition, and preseason variability all matter. But it's still reasonable to examine patterns, especially when they align with noticeable shifts in fan sentiment. Clark's impact on viewership has been significant. During her rookie season, games featuring her consistently ranked among the most watched across the WNBA. That trend suggests her presence and specifically her style of play connects strongly with a broad audience. Fast-paced transition offense, deep shooting range, and high-usage playmaking are central to why many casual viewers tune in. That context matters when evaluating fan reaction to strategic messaging. For a segment of the audience, the appeal isn't just that Clark is on the court, it's how she plays. When discussions emerge about shifting her into more off-ball roles or redistributing playmaking duties, some fans interpret that as a move away from the style they originally found compelling. From a viewer's perspective, that can influence engagement. If the expectation is a slower, more structured system rather than a high-tempo, guard-driven attack, some casual fans may hesitate before investing time in a preseason broadcast. Not necessarily disengaging permanently, but waiting to see how things actually look on the court. The broader takeaway isn't that one decision or quote directly caused a ratings drop. It's that messaging, expectations, and on-court identity are tightly connected, especially when a league's recent growth has been tied to a breakout star. The WNBA has seen rising attention, and Clark has been a major part of that surge. That doesn't diminish other players or storylines, but it does highlight how influential a single figure can be in driving casual viewership. For the Fever organization, the challenge moving forward is alignment. Coaching philosophy, roster construction, and public messaging all shape how fans perceive the product. If those elements feel out of sync with what initially drew in a large audience, engagement can fluctuate. At the same time, preseason numbers are only one data point. The regular season will provide a clearer picture of how strategy, performance, and fan expectations ultimately intersect.
The players that aren't going to play. Stephanie White said she doesn't anticipate playing Aaliyah Boston, Ty Harris, or Lexi Hall tomorrow in the preseason game against Dallas. Quote, I think we still probably be cautious with that. I think the goal is to probably get some of them minutes on Saturday if we can. What do you mean, if we can? Can you or not? What are we doing?
Beyond the tactical debate, another issue quietly shaping fan perception is communication, especially around player health. Recently, Stephanie White shared an update noting that Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, and Tyasha Harris were all managing undisclosed injuries. Her comment that the team would try to get some minutes, if we can, left room for interpretation and, for some fans, uncertainty. That kind of phrasing may seem routine within sports, where caution is often prioritized in preseason. But for a highly engaged fan base, limited detail can create doubt. When expectations are already heightened, even small gaps in transparency can feel significant. In this case, concern has been especially focused on Boston, given her importance as a foundational frontcourt player. At the same time, anticipation is building toward the regular season opener on May 9th, when the Indiana Fever face the Dallas Wings. The spotlight will naturally center on the matchup between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, a pairing that already carries strong viewer appeal. Games like this tend to draw attention regardless, but how the team presents itself on the court could influence whether that attention grows or fades. Style of play remains a central question. Clark's appeal has been closely tied to pace, creativity, and high-usage playmaking. If the offense leans into those strengths, pushing tempo and maximizing her on-ball impact, it aligns with what many viewers expect and enjoy. If it shifts toward a more controlled, shared ball approach, the experience may feel different, particularly for newer or casual fans. Still, it's important not to overstate a single factor. Viewership trends are shaped by multiple variables. Opponent strength, scheduling, platform, and broader league momentum all contribute. Coaching decisions matter, but they operate within a larger ecosystem. What's clearer is that engagement is sensitive to perception. Messaging, injury updates, and on-court identity all combine to shape how audiences respond. For the Fever, maintaining trust and clarity while also building a competitive system will be key as the season unfolds. The upcoming games will offer more meaningful data than pre-season snapshots. They'll show not just how the team performs, but how fans respond when expectations meet reality.